Chicago. Late evening. The wet asphalt glistened like glass under the streetlights. Andrew sat in the car, the engine off, the heat off. It was quiet inside. Only a few drops of rain slid down the windshield. The clock on the dashboard blinked. 9:42 p.m. He did not call. He did not write. He just waited. He looked at the back door of the school, where Melissa had gone 2 hours ago, to a PTA meeting. He sat silently. His breathing was even. Only his fingers gripped the steering wheel a little tighter than necessary. It was familiar. His body remembered. 6 years ago, he had sat in a different car, outside someone else's house, waiting for his first wife. Still hoped, still believed that everything would be explained, that everything would turn out to be a misunderstanding. Not now. Now he was not expecting an explanation. He was expecting confirmation. The school door creaked open. Andrew narrowed his eyes. Melissa came out first. Jacket open. Hair tousled. Laughing. Easy, free. As if it were a perfect day. A man came out after her. Balding. In a sports jacket with the school emblem. It was Dan, the gym teacher. He was walking too close. When they stopped near the car, Melissa looked around, but in the wrong direction. Not where Andrew's black SUV was parked in the shadows. She put her hand on Dan's shoulder. He hugged her, briefly, confidently, kissed her on the cheek. She did not pull away. Then she turned around, glanced briefly around, and went to her car. Opened the door. Got in. Andrew started the engine. He drove around the corner slowly, as if he was just driving by. The headlights caught Melissa's face. She looked up, froze. She recognized him. For a split second, fear, and then a smile. Slightly tense, but still a smile. Half an hour later, she opened the door to his house. Sorry, she said, pulling off her jacket. We stayed up late, discussing the autumn ball. Shelley took control of everything again. He did not smile. For a long time, almost to the end. Then we started talking some more. You know, Shelley, she ca not stop. He silently went to the kitchen, poured water, drank it, calmly, as if everything was fine. And inside, everything was simple, not painful, not shock, juste déjà vu. He knew this feeling. He knew what her every look, her every unnecessary gesture led to. He knew how it began, and how it ended. And he knew that now was the end. The morning began calmly. The son, in dinosaur pajamas, climbed into bed with the blanket over his head and demanded cartoons. Picked him up and carried him downstairs, laughing quietly so as not to wake the whole house. Melissa was already standing in the kitchen. She was chewing a pear, leaning against the sink. Her hair was pulled into a bun. She was wearing his old t-shirt with a faded college logo. No makeup, with a slight sleepy smile. She looked like the same woman he once called love. Good morning, Melissa said without turning her head. Andrew did not answer. He just went to the coffee maker and poured himself a cup. While his son was watching cartoons, the conversation was ordinary. The weather, some school news, a discussion of who hit whom on the playground. Melissa easily played along, chatted with her son, asked questions. Andrew watched, without fuss, without reaction. That same day, when Melissa left for the meeting, Andrew sat down his laptop and opened the school website. The faculty section. In the extracurricular activities section, Dan Clark was listed as a fitness instructor, physical education teacher, and organizer of the Parent Uniform Project. One click, a profile page. A photo from an autumn picnic. Dan in a sports jacket, his arm around Melissa's shoulders. They were laughing. There was a stand with apples and a PDA sign nearby. No further searching was required. The laptop slammed shut. No messages, no scenes, no showdowns, no hysterics. Just a period. Melissa continued to disappear in the evenings. First twice a week, then more often. She returned later than usual. Sometimes she brought some boxes, colored paper, glue guns, plastic garlands. For decorations, she said. Shelley's house is inconvenient. We work at Dan's. There is room there. Andrew did not even ask why the new perfume was so strong. Why the makeup was brighter, although Melissa used to prefer natural tones. Why there was a hair tie in the hallway that he had not seen since college. He did not care, because he had already been through this. Understood, when everything is obvious, there is no need for questions. Andrew became especially attentive with his son. Every evening, games, constructions from pillows, lanterns under the blanket. Felicidades. Dinosaurs. Laughter. With Melissa, there is silence. Contact is businesslike. No emotions. No arguments. Just a flat, icy distance. One evening, when Andrew silently pushed his plate away, Melissa held her gaze. Is everything okay? Tired, Andrew answered briefly. It happens. Melissa looked longer than usual. She wanted to add something, but changed her mind. It always happens when a person has not realized yet. He has already been crossed out. Saturday morning. The smell of fresh waffles filled the kitchen. On the stove was a frying pan with the last portion. Next to it was a bowl of syrup and banana slices. Andrew stood at the stove in silence. The phone was lying on the windowsill. Not a single new text message. Not a single attempt to explain. And he did not expect it. His son came down from the bedroom. His hair was stuck to his head, and he looked like a puppy. He sat down at the table and reached for the plate. It is hot. Wait a minute, Andrew said, turning off the burner. The sound of heels could be heard. Melissa appeared in the doorway, as if from the cover of a magazine. A short black dress, thick tights, bright makeup, a thin necklace around her neck, which was not there yesterday. Andrew did not turn around. We agreed to spend the day together, he said calmly, pouring orange juice into a glass. Melissa froze at the door. Her son was chewing a waffle, not looking up. I promised to help with the project. Dan has a final run-through of the presentation today. He needs help with the design. Andrew placed the plate in front of his son. He took a napkin, wiped his hands. He turned slowly. Look at me, Melissa. The voice was even. No threat. No stran. Looked up. There was wariness in her eyes, and the familiar confidence that everything will go without saying. We both know you re-lying to me, and I'm not going to pretend I do not see anything. Melissa's lips twitched. She wanted to say something, but she did not have time. Do not make excuses. Do not make a show. You are not the first one who thinks you can lie to my face and still be a saint. I've been through this before. I know the whole script from my parts. Andrew, wait. This is not enough. Everything has been clear for a long time. Andrew walked up to his son. He ran his hand through the boy's hair, turned and walked out of the kitchen. Melissa remained standing, as if they had forgotten to turn her off along with the light. No screams, no scenes, just a pause, a long, cold one, and then silence. Monday, late evening. The yard was plunged into darkness. The street lamp barely illuminated the porch. Packages were neatly lined up under the door. On top was a thick box. Inside were photographs, a wedding album, share vacations, smiles that were now strangers. The locks on the door had been changed this morning. Everything that had to do with Melissa had been cleaned out. The bottles had disappeared from the bathroom. Her coat had been taken off the hanger. With her initials was no longer in the kitchen. Even the pillow was new. Andrew did not ask where she had been for 2 days. He did not call or write. He was just waiting for this evening. The knock on the door was loud and insistent. Then the bell. Then again, with his fist on the wood. Melissa was standing there in jeans and a coat, with her hair disheveled. In her eyes, panic, confusion, and incomprehension. In her hands, a key that no longer fit. Andrew, open up. What's going on? There was silence from the house. You not do this. We have a child. This is my home. This is my life. Was heard through the glass. A dog with whom my son was playing. The door opened a couple of minutes later. Andrew came out, holding his son's hand. The boy was in a backpack and sneakers. In his hand, a plush dragon. Are you serious? Melissa's voice trembled. Did you just throw me out? You threw everything out yourself, Andrew answered calmly. We could talk. Without the child. One-on-one. You not do this. Can you? Abandon your son for presentations? Hide the correspondence, like, every day? Melissa stepped closer, put her hand on his sleeve. Andrew did not pull away, but he did not look into his eyes either. I'm confused. His voice became quieter. I did not mean to. He leaned closer. He said almost in a whisper, You not the first one to betray me, but you the last one I let do it too. Melissa let go of his hand. There were tears in her eyes, but not a request anymore, but realization. Andrew turned away. Opened the car, put his son in the back seat, fastened the seatbelt, closed the door. As the engine started, Melissa stood still. Did not scream, did not cry out loud, just watched the car drive away from her former life. The headlights went out around the corner. The house where she betrayed was left behind. Away, rushing into the distance, hummed under the wheels. The car sped along the empty lane, as if breaking away from everything that was left behind. Andrew held the steering wheel with both hands, without tension, just confidently, calmly, like a man who is no longer running from something, but is driving to where something new begins. Behind, in the back seat, under the blanket, the son was peacefully dozing. His head hung to the side, a plush dragon lay near his cheek. Through the open window, the smell of the field, the slanting light of dawn, and some almost unfamiliar silence burst into the cabin. Real, not tense, not expectant, but light. The air stopped being sticky, as if for the first time in a long time it was possible to breathe. Behind was the house, in which everything was cleaned down to the last detail. Not a single thing of hers, not a trace of her scent. No more "let us talk." No chance for an excuse. Just neatly stacked boxes, signed papers, and a key that no longer fit. Melissa did not call. Not that night, not later. She did not cry, did not beg, did not come. She sent one message 2 days later. Did you really just end it that easily? Andrew read it over dinner, put the phone face down, and continued cutting fruit for his son. There was no answer. Everything that needed to be said, he had already said, with his voice, and with the silence, and with the door that he closed forever. On the way to Ohio, they stopped at a lake, an old place Andrew had gone to with his father as a child. The boards on the pier creaked underfoot. The water was smooth as glass. There was no one nearby, only seagulls and the smell of pine needles. His son ran along the footbridge, squealing with delight, trying to catch a frog. Andrew stood, looked at him, and felt something shift inside. It was not the pain going away, no. It was just letting go. He did not feel like a winner. He did not feel triumphant. Strange relief, like after a long illness. When everything has already stopped hurting, burned out, thrown out, and there is emptiness left. But a good one in which you can build anew. He warned his parents a day in advance. His father said silently, "Come, the room is ready." His mother only asked, "Is your son okay?" Andrew nodded. His son was okay, because no one was yelling, no one was lying, no one was making a parody out of love. The child felt. Now, there was a man nearby who did not tremble before betrayal, did not cling, did not tolerate humiliation. He simply took responsibility and did as needed. He did not pretend to be happy, make plans for tomorrow. He just drove, kilometer after kilometer, to where there was at least something honest, at least something of his own, even if it was anew, even if it was without the usual comfort, but at least without falsehood. He did not allow himself to be lied to anymore. And that meant everything. And that's where today's story ends. Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed it, do not forget to like and comment. We'd love to discuss this story with you. See you in the next video.